What would you say if I told you right now that the most powerful magic in the Elder Scrolls universe isn't really magic at all, and that the whole universe, all of Aubris, is one giant dream song? Well, we can leave the whole dream part of it all out for this video, but to understand this video well, you will want to keep this metaphor in your head. The Elder Scrolls universe is made up of music, lots of vibrations that make up reality and the laws that exist within reality. This video is going to go into a deeper understanding of the Thuum, tonal architecture, and sword singing. Let's start with what they all are. One your average Elder Scrolls fan would be very familiar with is the Thuum. And as you're aware, the Thuum or Dragon Shouts don't use any magicka. They are this extra ability. If you look at it plainly, through manipulation of the voice and use of the dragon language, users can shoot flames, tear souls, summon storms, slow time itself, and become invincible for a duration. If you consider the laws of the universe, this is almost like cheating. Being able to use magic, but without being dependent on magicka for its use. A user of the Thuum is essentially inserting notes into the song of the universe, which creates the crazy effects of dragon shouts from nothing. Another group of people who were capable of this non-magicka magic were the Enigmatic Dwemer. Their use of tonal architecture is what allowed them to clear underground tunnel networks for their cities, to make everlasting structures that will never crumble, to make machines that would last for millennia, and create metals that would never deteriorate. The use of tonal architecture allowed the Dwemer to manipulate the laws of the universe. For example, they warped reality so that dwarven metal is not affected by the flow of time. Basically, Dwemer manipulated tone to change the laws of the universe for their creations, because the fabric of the universe is like music. So, for example, if the Dwemer changed a high note, which is representative of the laws of time in reality, to a low note, it could slow the flow of time. I hope you are following. We're going to need a bit of a team effort down in the comments to help everyone understand, but remember, once again, it's much easier to understand if you just take it at face value. The Elder Scrolls universe is one giant song. The Red Guards were formerly known as Yokudans when they lived on the continent of Yokudan. The Sword Singers were a group of Yokudans who followed the way of the sword. The Ansai were the elite and the greatest among the sword singers. They had an ability to manifest a sword from their very soul, materialize a real sword from their thoughts. This was called a Shehai, which means spirit sword. Once again, it's like inserting a note into the universe song. The sword was created via this method. There was no steel, there was no magic, there was no bound sword from another realm. It was simply created reality, similar to both the Thuum and tonal architecture. If you break down the words themselves, they are all sound related as well. Tonal architecture, like tone in music and sound. The Thuum is quite literally shouting and has all to do with voice and language. Then there is sword singing. While not actually singing, is creating a sword out of thin air by warping reality, hence manipulating the music of the universe. So now we understand that the analogy for the universe is a giant mass of vibrations or a giant song. Let's quickly and cleanly explain why this is the most powerful force in the Elder Scrolls universe. Because you are altering the universe itself. The problem with magic is it relies on magicka leaking into Mundus via the stars and sun from Aetherius. It plays by the rules of the universe. Put simply, tonal architecture, or Thuum and sword singing, ignore the laws of the universe because they create their own. 100% exactly how these skills or powers are learned is unknown, but I assume it is theoretically achievable by anyone. The Thuum is the one most understood, as we are aware that it is the dragon language spoken that inserts notes or warps reality to create these effects. But even that in itself requires years of training if not a dragonborn. As for sword singing and tonal architecture, the methods are vague. All we can determine is the extent of their power. The users themselves may not quite fully understand the nature of the universe and what it is they are really doing, but how could they? To fully understand the universe's nature, to really unravel it all, is to achieve Kim, to become a god. Or you could zero sum and be erased from existence. Those of you that are familiar with these terms already understand the whole godhood thing, but for the other guys, I think that is best left for a video another time so we don't get too off topic. In summary, tonal architecture, sword singing, and the voice are at their root all the same, the ability to shape the universe. The takeaway here is that really the Thuum is one of the most powerful forces currently available, considering that the art of tonal architecture disappeared with the dwarves and the Yokudan sword singers are long gone. The only remaining reality warpers, to put it one way, are users of the Thuum. If you think about it, the protagonist of Skyrim, the last Dragonborn, is one of the most powerful individuals currently existing in Tamriel. With Miraak dispatched, there is no one who could match the Dragonborn's Thuum, assuming that it is canon that he acquires all the words of power and kills a shit ton of dragons for their souls. Perhaps more forms of this kind of reality warping power could be discovered or gifted by the gods. We may never know until in Elder Scrolls 6, but it is a really interesting topic nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think about all this down in the comments below, and tell us what topics you want covered next. This was kind of a softcore introduction into the deeper, more complex parts of Elder Scrolls lore, and I hope you enjoyed this a lot. I myself really love this really deep lore, and even for me, sometimes I have a bit of a wig out, but keep on learning, it's really fun. I'm Scott from FudgeMuppet, and I will see you next time.